Millennium to power millennium. Good morning, namaskar. This is Inya Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, April 9th, 2022, Saturday, 3:34 a.m. मैं सूरज सिंह भारत इंडिया से बोल रहा हूँ। आज दिनांक अप्रैल 9 2022 शनिवार 3:34 and title of talk is same. Yesterday there was a problem on Facebook that it got started, so yesterday only after a few minutes, couple of minutes, it had to be cut down and I could not start again due to reason of failure of transmission. Title of talk is Real Quality Coordination Engineering Projects Works All Designs, Reliable Engineers, Power of Communication, Concrete Specifications, Civil Engineering, Contract Safety, Health Environment, Methods, Disputed Claims. Parties what we do, and that's the important point what I should do. These are only descriptions of subtitles of this talk. We start with real quality and we attend say what we do, and that's very important point what we do, and in between these two ends, quality and what we do. If we achieve quality, we achieve everything, and that's my point of view, and it should be your point of view as well. And between these two terminals we have coordination engineering, which is very important part. We have projects works, whatever works we have on projects, and we have all designs whatever are required for projects. Reliable engineers, we have not giving any answer. I'm just speaking and I think my speech is not being recorded because of frame failure. Nothing is still 0 and 0. I think I'm sure this video is going to fall. Just 4 minutes. It will fall. It's going to fall soon. What to do? Forget no video. Again, no frame rate and no audio. It's not working. Right? Here is my international professional engineer certification for 5 years. Is valid up to 2025 September, and this is chartered top grade, and this for time being I put this off, and also I close this file so there is enough space here. Now I'll open the file which is concrete specification. That is real quality. Real quality file. Still, let us see what happens. How does it work? Real quality and real coordination. When I say real quality, means real achieved quality or to be achieved. It's not in air. It's not in talks only. It's not in writings only. It's not in documents only. It's not in claims only. It should be in reality. Product must speak. Whatever product, whatever consumable or otherwise building or structure or machine or a gadget, electronic gadget, whatever do we have, this product must announce itself that I have been produced according to requirements. Requirements were met when I was produced. I am fully competent, consistent, I am able to perform for you, purpose for which you are buying me. That what product should tell. Product must announce, and if product I say real quality and real coordination are linked together. Quality cannot be achieved without complying with whatever is given or whatever is specified or whatever is demanded by user. That point is very important. And real coordination means we must have every required information available at time when work is done or when product is being manufactured or is under process. So I am inclined towards the real world of construction, real world of designs, real world of planning and surveying and quantity, whatever is involved. Need for to perform, and that's point where I am serious about. And this seriousness should not go against. It's just the same situation. Signals are down, down, and down. Just 8 minutes pass. There's no signals. Zero, zero, zero. That's the problem here. I don't think they'll continue like this because signals are breaking and my voice video is zero and audio is zero and frame rate is zero. Certainly it will not work, I'm sure. That's why I'm speaking for this. I'm not speaking about subject. No use because it won't be recorded. You have to bear with me. We are sleeping to an extent. Quality and coordination are concerned. Quality and coordination are right together. This means this complete word. If you know quality, what is quality, and if you know what is coordination, we have to understand then are indicating there should be no problem. Access is there, and well, I think maybe some all connections are available even then. I don't know what's happening. Why it's not giving result on the video is zero and variability. I'm getting service, but it's not service. This is my device is saying signals are there, but these are coming zero zero zero. Why it is, I do not know. If it like this, it's very difficult to continue on this professional talk. Yesterday's collapsed, and I think I don't know why happening. Just in 11 minutes, is about 4 5 times. It's still it's zero zero and zero. Zero is by video by rate and bit rate. Video bit rate and zero is frame rate and audio bit rate. All three bit rates are zero and zero and zero. That's where problem lies in. I don't know how can we accept that we are not professionals, but we don't want to perform. Those who are very senior, those who are experienced and pragmatic, they know all this. They are supposed to know what is quality, what is quantity, how it is done, how it's not done, and they can't understand that. No one can, no one can explain, no one can teach them, because when you are engineer, when I am engineer, we have to educate self by whatever source we have. All nonsense. One should be true to itself. Why should run away from that requirement? And it's happening every half minute. And I'm not sure of this recording that it will be better recording. I think I don't know what to do. I am a civil engineer. I don't understand all this. But 000 I'm weaving now, and maybe after a few seconds I'll find something. It's happening regularly on this. I'm just informing you, Miss. Say 14.6 kbps has some video byte bit rate and 1 fps frame rate and 3 kbps audio byte. You see again 000 means how to handle this in this way, 0 0 and 0, and I think something is wrong yet. They're not doing, or maybe it is Saturday. I think they're sleeping probably. They close Friday evening and they enjoy Saturday. And that's why I'm stressing for quality. There should be quality everywhere. This is evidence that I'm announcing to you, because this it's over. We can see that, but every day this happens. Still, you see constantly 1 minute and it's 0. Now something has come. That's drama. That's what's happening. Let us see. For youth, for budding engineers, and for common people to realize value of quality engineering and coordination engineering. But in engineering, these are requirements. These are, even if you don't define them, even then this is required. If I don't consider them that required, that's young engineers must understand this point. Don't run away. Don't skip coordination. Don't skip quality. If you, even if you work in designs domain, do not forget that you have to work your design. You have to produce your design per quality requirement, and that quality requirement of what? First time, right all time. Of course, we say right. It may be not 100% right, but it should be right. That information which you have, you must know which information you need, because your sequence of work in designs, your calculations, and your expectation or site people expectation from designer must know If I am on site, I am working on design, what expectation I have, how is or what is of drawing or what is of information site people may expect. That's very important point, because both are intelligent. You as a designer are brilliant, and site person is brilliant in solving problems practically, not technical but otherwise. Site people is interested to do job as fast as possible with best quality, saving time likewise. And if it doesn't context is very important, every hour is important. We have to keep that in mind, because time is money, quality is required, and controls are very important. That's what we have to keep in mind. So it's always important that you have to understand what or whatever is received. And that's a big job, you can say. You cannot deny this fact. Coordination engineering, quality engineering are applicable everywhere. It's first time if you see in designs it's required. You should know what level of quality is required, and it's you have to define, because you are a designer, and designer means you should know what budget is there, and to what extent can we go, and to what extent this product is going to be used in construction or structure or whatever, to what extent of how many years it shall be used. And depending on that, we have to design product, design that structure theoretically, analytically, and quantity-wise. And also, this must be done by those people. Unfortunately, I am being, I am very fed up, because I feel every time that this may break. Still only a few minutes, I think. It's not more than how many minutes have gone. Let me see. It's only 25 to 26 minutes, and it's saying 0, 0, and 0. Means it's up to it if it accepts in 0, 0, 0 to my voice. I don't know, but the screen is there, and you may see screen. I think that may not be a problem. It may not run. It may stop at some point, but what to do? And I don't know. Really, still 0, 0, 0, and I am threatened every time. I don't know what to do. I can't solve this problem. I can't solve this problem, really speaking. It's out of my control, and I can't solve this problem. In fact, it's a worrisome problem. Maybe there's stagnation on signals, or whatever reason, I don't know. It can be stagnation or whatever. It's indicating that signals are working, but no, not displayed here. And that's my worry. 0, I think maybe it's gone, and it's gone, I think. It might have gone completely, I don't know. Still it's showing, but nothing is being recorded, and still 0, 0, and 0. I don't know what to do. It's worrisome for me. I can't say should move or not move. 0, 0, 0. It's not giving any answer. It's not giving any answer, and that's problem herein. Though it's still moving, but I think it's stagnant here. It's going to stop. 0, 0, 0. It's not moving. Unfortunately, it is. Let us see what's happening. Why it is 0, 0, and 0. It's not working at all. And what to do? Really, it's surprising to note it's not working. Well, I'm not sitting here just here. Communication is very important. Word of designs, working designs, manufacturing, construction procedures, continuously to do assessment for works, consideration of quality goals in all works. This is all job of every engineer, and we have to say that we have to fix quality in our country, ours, and that's very important. I'm not criticizing anybody. Quality is quality, and quality of construction, which I observe here and around, I think is unbecoming. We are helpless in a sense that as an Indian cannot do it, because those engineers who are involved with that job, whatever jobs, they should know, they should understand this fact. They should know what is quality, how it is done, and if it's not taken care of, I think there's no way out, there is no solution at all if that is not taken care of. And who shall take care of? It is engineer concerned, or I'm not saying which particular engineer, but whoever is involved, and that engineer is responsible. But what is the level of responsibility if we've seen from distance that quality is not being done? I feel it very upset sometimes, believe me. I feel it upset, and I feel angry also with people. I don't blame contractor for this. I don't blame owner for this. I have to blame designer as well as a constructing and construction engineer. I mean, I to that as an engineer, though it's not my responsibility for whatever work it is. I feel upset that why we are wasting natural material. If steel is rusted and nobody cares for that, and they just install it, just place it, means you are going to spoil concrete also. Because rusted steel means there's no bonding, rust will augment further, it will harm, its future. We have to be very careful about that. Quality I no relation to site, and if you ask site people, means what to do about them. I have been site person, but I worked unfortunately in those countries where quality is important. Country like Iraq, country like Qatar, country like you know Abu Dhabi, and particularly in buildings and oil fields where it's very much significant. One should get quality, and if one doesn't do it, it's not accepted. And I learnt a lot. Believe me, I learnt a lot from that point of view. How does it happen? Well, my point of view is not to criticize someone, but just to get something. And that's what I say. Come what may, no excuse for any concessions. Quality is a requirement. Work quality cannot be compromised, and currently in entire scenario in ours, Bharat, India, and preliminary considerations are there is someone who does good work, but in general, I can say no. Unsuccessful to, I'm not getting anything, but I'm trying to see that development, it may be in our country or it may be in other country. It should be fine, it should be to mark, if not 100%, maybe some tolerance there. I have seen Qatar, Iraq, Libya, Saudi, Abu Dhabi, UAE. I have seen throughout my career, particularly post-graduation career, and I have worked more than 20 years in these countries, in different organizations, in different levels. And of course, I cannot say that I did everything right. I can't claim that. Because when I was learning and in field, it's very difficult that you find good people to teach you. You won't find teachers in field, and that's where deficiency lies in. It's not only in our country, ours, but everywhere. In practical field, in construction field, I'm not talking of machines, I'm not talking of, you can say, industrial works. I'm talking of construction domain. Metals you're buying, you're applying theories, you're applying designs, they have to be shaped physically, and designer gives you design. Designer also does not have any teacher there, maybe some seniors are there, but you know in field it is a question of responsibility, it's a question of accountability, liability. In that case, this is a different type of university. It's a type of accountable person, accountable student who shall face consequences if work does not go according to requirement. Payment shall not be made. Actions can be taken against designer as well as against site person if work does not go according to requirement. And that is very important issue. In that case, I can say without guidance, based on experience, based on written documents or preparing documents, you can say it's a kind of excellent degree, a degree which you learn yourself, syllabus of which you decide yourself. You are syllabus maker, you are design maker, you do yourself or through someone, and work is done, and not only done, it is used, it's performed, and you are responsible for that. There is no comparison what work is done in field to what is taught. So when one comes to a level of self-teaching, I think that is best way to be your own student, your own teacher, your own guide, your own collector, and everything. You are your way responsible. You have to investigate yourself, your work. You have to scrutinize your procedures. You have to see whatever was required per contract documents, you are doing that. And whatever is required for project, you constitute those contract documents. I'm not saying you alone do it. There is a responsibility distribution on that. You can say division of responsibility, we can call it. Many roles, many people, many personal. And that's why I'm saying no way generally is answer. Unsuccessful to find anywhere, unfortunately. Where does required coordination exist? That's the question mark. Unknown is its conduct. That is very important. And that's why I say, did you ever find or can you find for deliberations existing red lines to be resolved? Existing red lines to be resolved. Red lines means unknown. We do not know what problems may come, but problems do come because of some missing item, because lack of coordination or lack of vision, you can say, short of vision. Can we bring working environment to quality and coordination requirements? That is what we have to answer. Again, I say certain red lines that must be turned green, and that must be a must, which you have to understand. Can we know? Again, there are so many lines, many times I have repeated. I know it, but I'm going to another file, and which is now coordination file, and that is reliable coordination, engineering projects, public engineers, and that is again I say same, but with different toning, different. This is a kind of application file. Applications, I now find difference in my learning from that. When I started my foreign career, overseas career. I'm not counting my career here that time because that was supervision career. Supervision is not that critical as work to be done on site. And that's why I say missing real coordination means missing good engineering. And if you cannot coordinate, whatever way, you cannot leave it to software, because software can't replace your mind. And what you see, what you think, what you do is more important, because you are a teacher, you are a checker, you are an examiner. You are an examiner of yourself, you are a student of yourself, you are a teacher of yourself, you are a researcher of yourself. Means personal contribution, personal involvement. Maybe once project is over, nobody shall know you. No problem. You are not here to let people know you. My job should tell you what person was. My face is not important. My name is not important, but engineer title is important. People should say whoever engineer worked this project was good or bad. You can say both. And this is very important point we have to understand. We are not here for getting some fame or celebrity status. I don't care for that, because there is no requirement of this celebrity in designs and construction, because it's work. It's work, and it cannot be called entertainment. Yes, if you want, you can entertain yourself. That's your choice. We enjoy your work, though it's boring, but you can enjoy that. And that's really important point of view from every way. Work should be enjoyed, and those who enjoy work, they are winners. I can say winner in the sense that they can do project. They can do project. Project implementation is very important. Project design is very important. Doing right design and delivering that is also project. While starting a construction and delivering that project is also a kind of complete project. So designs and construction equal to project, and then project delivery means project is over and its use starts. It's once it is commissioned. At this point we have to keep in mind, and that's why we can say is coordination a must on every project. Project means all performance activities, performable activities involved from pre-design stage to final completion or final completion of complete construction. Few difficult questions to be answered by engineering community may be this regarding quality and coordination, respective involvement and entirety. Can we ignore these domains? Answer should you have to give answer. Can you ignore these domains? If you ignore these domains, you ignore your project. What do we engineers think our issues as mentioned, and how many of ourselves to conduct works per quality and coordination engineering? Is it not right time to contemplate and deliberate on this subject? Can good industrial practice be achieved without moving through quality and coordination domains? Can engineering designs be reliably carried out without involving quality and coordination? But where are we going? Communication support for reliable coordination. My concentration is on coordination, and I'm very upset to see people are not inclined towards coordination. Had they been inclined, they would have major. There were abundance of information available on internet regarding quality and coordination, but I could not find that information. Even after going through sort of checking or finding or searching a number of times about coordination and you can say about coordination quality, only same repetition, same way, some paper, research paper, some this paper. Actually, no material is available, to be very frank. And I'm upset, this is upsetting situation. And that's the only way I try to fill something on internet using these videos, medium, about dissemination of information about quality and coordination. Coordination information is equal to zero on internet, and quality is, as far as concerned, it is only system information that is given, not real information. Quality systems exist, we know that, but the systems, those are not quality. These are quality relations, how to do that. And that is not actually required. What is required is people should know what work is done, how this work is done. They should know something about that, but that is not available. And particularly in construction engineering, it's not at all available. And that's why I try to find whatever official information available from whatever country we want to confer on that. I want to bring attention of people on that's very important point. And that's why I can say I'm not upset with that, but sometimes I feel that we are not doing our job, because no university can give us quality education, no university can give us coordination education. It can give only some information about technique, about theory or syllabus only. That's why I say engineering means field, it's experience in designs or in construction, professional fields we can say. One is design field, one is construction field. Construction may be through contracting or otherwise, design may be through contracting or otherwise, whatever way. Construction, or it may be EPC, whatever contract, it may be FIDIC or otherwise. Whatever contract is there, contract is very important, and that's why every engineer must know value and meaning of contract. And if we do not know, we miss a lot. We should not miss a lot. This is engineering world, and engineering world can't be defeated like that. We should not defeat that. And for that, I like to invite people. I like to request people to think on issue of quality and coordination, and keep aside that you are a design engineer, you are a specialized engineer. Congratulations, when you are a specialized engineer, but coordination is a super specialization, which if it's not conducted, means so there is no perfect answer to that. There is no perfect replacement of coordination. I thought, but I am feeling now that I am doing right way of this coordination dissemination, and I will try to get more and more information on this, though it's not possible all time. And I should say I will request everybody to give information to people using internet about techniques, about quality controls, about quality requirements, how it is done, simply writing, collecting information. Everybody has a lot of experience. Every person, every engineer who is senior or who is veteran, irrespective of use of computer or no use of computer, information is available. And it is weakness among engineers that they don't disseminate that information. Now media is available. In past, media was not available. I could accept that time that there is no way, we have no publishers to do this, because even if you write field books or books for engineers, these publishers won't publish, because they are interested in commercial benefit. They are not interested in knowledge benefit, and they are right, they have to earn money. Engineering could not be disseminated that way. Practical engineering, you can say, it could not be disseminated successfully. And that's the medical science is different. There is everything practical in the clinics, but in engineering, what happens on site only engineers know, and they are not good writers in many ways, you can say. I can blame myself also. We are not used to writing, we are not used to recording anything. We think, oh, I'm tired, I've done this. We can narrate to someone how we did, but unfortunately we don't do it for all every time. It's our duty to write something what we think is better for dissemination to people as well as to your juniors. But it's not happening, it doesn't happen. You know, It is right that one has to write good book, one should be good author. But it's not for sake of commerce of publisher. No, I can say internet is best way. I'm not interested, you're not interested in money making, but development is for all. Engineer has to contribute to society. Engineer has to contribute professionally as well as personally. Personally in the sense that when you do work yourself, that is unequal. There's no other work as such. And that's where I say we have to be very serious about. And that is through communication, and communication is done through internet, and that's I think best possible way these days. That the internet should be made proper use of. And if you can't make proper use of this, it means there's something wrong somewhere we miss and we should not miss. And that point is really very, very important. Just a minute, please. So is communication. Here I was talking of, and communication is very important part in engineering world. Information has to be communicated properly, and if it is not communicated, it doesn't mean anything. If you keep it to yourself or in project records, who shall read that? I can claim, okay, I put that in writing, it is on record, but that record is for whom? That record shall never be opened. Because nobody in maintenance, who cares about that? Though we say we have given a dossiers, we have issued all dossiers, but I think these go to either in digital form on some disk or in hard copy form somewhere. And this record is not you can say understood or read by those who require it. It should be for juniors, it should be for newcomers, and it should be for people, means how work was done. And even if there's some accident that happens and inquiry is conducted, all reports are not disclosed, and even if are disclosed in a way news and not in a way of analysis. And that's where we have to be very serious about, and that's very serious about. And now we have to think of material. That's very important from every point of view. And that material is, I can start, that material is about coordinate issues. And I say that I tried to give you more information than last time, and you can see text of that information I'm trying to give. Don't repeat what I've done, and I've not started even posting these pages on the internet or elsewhere yet, because I want more information from everywhere. That information should be rightly recorded and should be used by someone only. If it's not used, there's no meaning at all. And that's what I say. We have to be very careful about what we say, how we do it. And life is like that. I want to see that text which I wrote for you people long back, and it must be remembered just at every time. That's what's not happening. Why is hangover? I don't know, not responding. This not responding, no problem. Let it wait itself. Let's go to, and there's a problem in, I don't know why it's not responding. Let me see. Okay, now, yes. Here is what I think we have to see what is given here. That is about coordination issue. I think that is bad one. Engineering is a must on every project. This is ordinary title. Coordination engineering is a must on every project. And it's written about design construction. These very absolutely interrelated terms, and these sections for achievement from successful start to successful completion. I'm saying successful start because there's a meaning behind that. We have to start, of course, but successful start means we should have all information ready with us before starting or commencing some work. some work we have to commence, then we should have complete information. There is no meaning if you start some work and then you stop after some time, you hold work because you don't have complete information. I think that is not professional way. You should know, let us see, at least for a couple of months that you are going to work for, when you plan that work should move without any problem, and if some information is missing, that should come by that time that activity is started. That should be planned. Sometimes information is not available, but it doesn't mean that we can't work, because there are so many information required on every project. Sometimes we don't have some, but we should keep in mind at that time, when that information, that activity comes, and that information must be available by that time. And it's not made available, there's no way you have to assume that. And if you are, if you are responsible for as a designer, you may assume something, but that assumption should be based on experience, reality. Music design, construction, and control are very solidly interrelated, required sections for achieving from successful start to completion of a project. And that's an important point, which all must be applicable throughout project stages, with all works be smoothly effective. These sections or stages are initial conceptual designs, designing for works, execution purposes, procedure implementations, about how to chart out construction of designed project works. Project construction works, currency decision, and works carrying out, testing, completion, and commissioning, and use of use of project. When project title terminates, renaming that title, operation to, or occupation in place of project. You see, this is just a cycle. I written here, or cycle, in the sense that project has to be delivered, and once project is delivered, it's not called project, but it's a unit. It's, you can say, kind of functioning unit. It may be powerhouse, it may be facilities, it may be, you can say, whatever project you road, it can be building, whatever it is, whatever project. Means delivered project, not design. Here design is not required. Design is already included, because included, and is included, and when product is delivered, it is delivered based on that design. So design is already included in that, and that's why we say we have to deliver project so that it can be used as a unit or whatever else. We have to understand that point. It is duty of everyone to realize this fact that we work in tech world, we work in physical world, we work in, doing physical activities. Everywhere your software cannot help. Maybe we relate ourselves to software. People may boost a lot, but civil engineering is not moved by software alone. It is moved by common sense. Civil engineering is defined as perfect common sense. Those engineers who don't have common sense in engineering and in life, they cannot deliver successfully civil construction projects. Because we deal with those people, we deal with machines who are operated by experts or operators. We use works, we produce works using workers or human resources. We use materials which are also involved, which materials also involve workers. This means everywhere people are involved, personnel are involved, those are trained one or not trained one. Those persons know about callings, about their job, occupation, and this means everyone has some common sense. I have even seen common sense in those field workers who stand in front. Maybe they don't have any legal or academically recognized degree or schooling, but they have enough skill which they learn through their clans, through their inheritance. If father is some, son goes to, like that, means learning from parent or from their grands. If grands are okay, if parents are okay, they know job, I think that is also a kind of training. I should note, if one has experienced that, one has produced that and works, that training is also countable as far as work is concerned. No problem for academics, because academics cannot work in field. They are academics, they can only understand and explain what is written in books. But an engineer who works in field, maybe he has not written any book. That engineer may not even find a practical book for reference. In that case, whatever that engineer teaches to student, that is important based on experience. Even these deliberations which I see on webinars, these are only limited and just at random, you can say. It doesn't give anything specifically, and that's why my question is weird like this. I always investigate on me. I was only apply corrections on me, and that's where it's important. Designs may be considered over safe or safe, but main point lies in your design shall be transformed to physical work. To what level it is done, how many percent it is achieved, it depends on that. And that's why I say it's very important to keep an eye means mental eye as well as physical eyes both. Not simply viewing eyes, means eyes that can accept something, cannot accept something. A constant touch is required on activities. You know, our people and everywhere they are enthusiastic. All are pro quantity. They do not really know what is value of quality, and it's not. It's the fault. It's fault of system. But quantity is preferred by everybody, and everybody has to keep in mind. If you prefer quantity, quality is an integrated part of that. And if you don't do quality, only quantity, then your work is not accepted. And it's very important part. We cannot say no and we control it first. So we'll come back to this. Let me go to now about, because we are talking quality, and quality is very important everywhere. We understand that point. It's 1 hour, that's all talk, and I want not to bore you more. We'll come back to this issue later, and I'm going to construction of concrete, work of concrete, and that's important point. And here is that one. Let me say we go to page 180 and see what's there. Where I stopped last time, I don't accept the protection against harmful effects, and this is here. You can see it is temperature controlled curing. I think we start with that. We have to see what is temperature controlled curing. It's concrete we are talking now. It's Japan specification, not mine one. I'm just giving reference to this. I shall also give reference to Qatar standard specifications. I'll get that also. I bring to you that one little later, but now I'm just trying to understand what is Japan. It's 530 pages. No problem, pages not an issue here. I'm trying to bring to you a contemplation of specifications, because specifications are a very important part. And I have worked in fields also, for many years, and I don't want to boast about that, but because we worked here, and that was important one. And I can start. If I can find a file, I'll be glad to see you that. I'll be happy if I can find that file now just to show to you. Maybe we don't discuss that now, but it can be shown. I think that's not a big problem. It was somewhere here. I'm sure it was. Let me go back and see where it was. II renewal. Let me see here. It may be possible, and IP 2025. And here it could be an IDP certificate. So no, it's not that. I want to see my CV file, interview certificates, interview certificate booklet, PDF certificate. It's a problem to finding sometimes, CV, where is the CV? CV, here is this. 220 photo. Okay, it's only CV. I like to show you my CV, and that's important one. Let me do it. Interview certificate. Code P certificate serial face. Okay, let me see CV and see clear attachments. Just a minute, please. I want to show that file. That's important file for me. That's really important for me. Okay, let us open this file and see how does it work. Will open to you just now, please. It's old one, but no problem. I have to show you my it's coming. Yeah, it's come. Okay, this is that one. Let me show this also. No issue. I want to save it also just for a minute, please. Let me save it so that it's not for everyone. I'll show you what it is. This file. I'm sure what's the meaning of that. That meaning is also important because I want to just share my information with you. And what's that? What's that? And just a question of time only. Bear with me, and that is here. So it is somewhere here. I think it's coming in. So it is here. So it's okay. Now this is a file, that one which I'm trying to show you is that. This is my CV file. I'm not going to talk about my personal this one. I'm going to talk about types of works I did. Recently, I was involved in my own work, that is building, and it was regarding roof waterproofing, polymer, chemical on concrete. You can see this roof waterproofing, polymer, chemical on concrete, and masonry surface applications as application of polymer concrete polymer cement on surfaces, exposed surfaces, vertical and horizontal. And I have also, of course, these videos I'm showing to you, so I'm not going to post about that. Now what I'm going to say is that projects that I carried, and that's very important. And here I'm writing some notes also, and those notes are that it is here is, first of all, I have written item number 1, what do I understand by profession of project management, organization, discipline and quality systems. In 2015 IS 9001, civil engineers must be involved with all disciplines for coordination, objectives, total quality management that we call it, and of course proactive resource persons. Published more than 400 live videos. The quality, time and cost are very important to be discussed, and we can say parameters that we use, or you can say knowledge areas in works we have to do. These are scope, quality, time, cost. Scope is all starter one. What scope, what level of quality we have to deliver, and what is time for that project, what's cost involvement, what is risk factor, and human resources involvement, procurement requirements, communication plans. And you may say that these points are necessary for defining what is quality, total quality, and total organization. And I think these points these are very important ones: scope, quality, time, cost, risks, human resources involvement, procurement procedures, communication plans, and now we can say coordination plans as well. And I see many videos have been used, may have been delivered regarding Annex SL of quality requirements, quality system. And these were like RCC buildings, construction, supervision, designs on social media. This I have given on this all quality systems. Considerable changes to quality system have been made from 2015 if you relate to 2008, old one which is obsolete now. And such were what is the leaders, means what's the responsibility of leaders. So it's called considerable changes to quality system have been affected by including accountability of all leaders related to all business divisions, leaving no exclusive accountability, shareable by quality representative, entirely based on risk issues, risk organization, risk management, in place of risk prevention. Only interests of all stakeholders, including those indirectly impacted, require to be analyzed, studied, and implemented accordingly. Project charter requires to be formulated in such a manner that all responsibles are inserted therein. Now, there are certain, I know here, you can see that in 2016, this is my election as I was certified as Fellow of Institute of Engineers in 2016. In 2012, 2015, it was International Professional Engineer. In 1995, 2000, 2005, it was 10. This is Certification of Professional Engineers. And Chartered Engineer 1986 and Bachelor of Engineers 1980. Section B, IEI, Institute of Engineers, respectively like this. And before that, passed my diploma in civil engineering. And you can say my personality is that I will define myself multifaceted personality in project organization or management, engineering designs and construction, contracting, site and office engineering, with full adaptability with required acumen, professionally dedicated, experienced having worked under stress with resilience to achieve target objectives, reliable knowledge disseminator to public and professionals on social media forum like Facebook, Safi, etc. And here is what you can say. I have plus 35 years management, construction, designs, and out of that 20 years approximately or more in, you can say, GCC countries and otherwise, and of course some experience in our own, it's part of India. And you can say on projects of civil RCC buildings with multiple services, structures, oil, EPC projects, construction, engineering designs, consultancy, coordination, estimation, proposals, multifaceted expertise in engineering. And I have worked in Iraq, Libya, Qatar, UAE, Saudi. Intensely interact with structural engineers on SAFE, that is safeindia.org, and others, as an author on social media, Facebook, contributing to professional solutions requested by various civil and structural engineers online. More than, okay, postings, leave it out, proactive resources, person online, that is currently, can say, proactive resource person online, disseminating project organization engineering, project management engineering, and other issues, and practicing freelancing consultancy. More than 2 years dissemination of engineering field activities through medium of Facebook. So that's all right. This is starting regarding field engineering, field activities, and also construction, safety, health, environment, ergonomics, economics related to lithosphere and ISO 9001, and annex and public related issues in general, along with Constitution of Bharat, India. Practice as freelance arbitration management consultant. This error, I think, is 2005 to 2015. Sorry for that, it's a zero error. Management consultant overseas clients working out support for claims, contract disputes related to power projects, dealing with all correspondences for provision of international and domestic arbitration. Also visited China, Shanghai in connection to support dispute resolution procedures, writing books on project safety activities, construction method statements and contract organizational management, facilities plans, currently working on freelance projects. Likewise, then there's projects records, can say it was in PAT. I'll come back to this later on because it's not used just to use this time. Here is just one last assignment I had, that was for PAT in Doha, Qatar. Here we were working for the last time I joined QDVC, one company, French, and QVC, QAC, PEO, NITCO, QP, Gulfar, Al Misnad, US Army base Karama. I dealt with them as in position as projects manager. QDVC is a French company, and VC and other company, and SQAC also another company, private office of engineering, Amir, and another company, Nitco, and you can say Qatar Petroleum, Gulfars, and Al Misnad, US Army Base Karam. Well, likewise, there are so many. And I put to head of company or owner of this company, it's called executive director here. Temperature control curing. Come back to temperature control curing until concrete has hardened, we can say. Until concrete is hardened to a certain extent, it shall be maintained under temperature conditions. This is very simple. Very simple, we say that until concrete has hardened to a certain extent, it shall be maintained under temperature controls, temperature conditions. It shall be maintained under temperature conditions required for hardening of concrete. That's everyone knows about this. It's done that way. Everyone knows about this. There's nothing new in this, but just for reference, I'm showing this. And you can say, why not getting? There's some difficulty in my projection. So it's say until concrete is hardened to a certain extent, it shall be maintained under temperature conditions required for hardening, and temperature controlled curing shall be carried out if required to protect concrete from harmful effects of low and high temperatures, as well as sudden changes in temperature. When temperature control curing is carried out, temperature controlling method, curing control method, and duration shall be appropriately determined. And is determined. Temperature control. When temperature control curing is carried out, temperature control methods, curing control methods, and duration shall be appropriately determined, taking into account type of concrete, shape and size of structure, construction method, and environmental conditions. And that is for temperature control. Here is now some comments about this. Cement hydration is remarkably influenced. Everybody knows cement hydration is remarkably influenced by curing temperature of concrete, except in special cases. Concrete temperature begins to be influenced by outside temperature. Just after concrete is mixed, you can say that, maybe there are some cases where it doesn't apply, but concrete temperature begins to be influenced by outside temperature just after concrete is mixed. That's very important. That's the natural process of concrete. In particular, concrete surface or thin members such as walls and slabs are easily affected by outside temperature. In general, relationship between curing temperature, concrete age, and compressive strength can be expressed by concept of maturity. When curing temperature period to obtain necessary compressive strength becomes longer. On the other hand, when curing temperature is higher, it becomes shorter. However, effect of curing temperature depends on type of cement. Blended cements such as fly ash cement or blast furnace cement tend to be sensitive to curing temperature. That is what? This is effect of curing temperature depends on type of cement. Blended cements such as fly ash cement or blast furnace cement tend to be sensitive to curing temperature. Therefore, for blended cements, a longer duration, longer concrete period, longer curing period than ordinary Portland cement is required, especially when curing temperature is low. Hydration of ground granulated blast furnace slag is highly dependent on temperature. In temperature history, strength development properties of structural members may differ considerably depending on factors such as dimensions of members and heat insulation property of formwork. That is very important point to note, though it's not given in this specification. We have different dimensions of various members. When you say thin members, means all sides are less than 80 centimeter or 800 mm. For example, wall and generally columns also, because columns rarely are more than 800 mm if there's a big column, but one may be less, one side may be less. So section minimum dimension should be 800 mm. If it is less, then you can say it is normal element, normal members, but when it's 800 mm minimum, it can be called thick member. So generally columns are considered thin members, and also your foundations, independent footings, combined footings, in which minimum dimension is less than 800 mm. Generally these are all classified as thin members. You can take, for example, walls which is 150 mm or 200 mm, foundations which are 400 mm thick, 500 mm thick. Size may be 2 meter, 3 meter, but as far as minimum dimension is concerned, least dimension is concerned, that should be less than 800 mm. Same way for beams, suspended beams, or you can say down stand beams or upstand beams, and also suspended slabs or cantilever slabs or other slabs. Thickness where 800 mm is rare, except maybe in some case of storing warehouses, buildings. Otherwise 800 mm is very big. Even in your runways of airport are not that much. So that's what I'm saying, that thick members and thin members. And of course massive blocks. Of course, why we call these slabs as thin or plates, because thickness in comparison to length of size or wear dimensions are too limited. That's we call them thin members. And so very low temperature interface. That's why it says very low temperature interface with hydration reaction of cement, and may delay development of strength. Concrete may also be subject to initial frost damage, and it's therefore necessary to perform temperature control by heat supply or heat insulation for a given period of maintain necessary temperature conditions. For cases where daily mean temperature is less than 4 degrees Celsius, it requires to be treated as cold weather conditions, and that's okay. Now I said thin members and thick members and massive block. Massive block because it's massive, huge quantity of concrete is there, maybe 300 cubic meter, 400 cubic meter, 500 cubic meter. Accordingly, we will get heat, and we do not want to waste that thermal heat we receive from concretization. We have to use that for purpose of curing. We don't want to allow this heat to evaporate. We want to use this heat within body of concrete, and that's we generally call, without allowing any evaporation, that heat should be used for its purpose, and which we generally call by thermal curing itself. But temperatures would increase, and that's indeed true. We have to take insulation, protecting measures, prevention measures for that type of work. So it's very important. One is thermal curing, otherwise if it's too cold we have to wait for long distance, but we can have different arrangement of steam curing. Likewise, heated curing, that's also very important, steam curing, so that temperature is maintained just like say about 20 degrees, 25 degrees, 27 degrees, where normalcy we call it, where heat production is not too high. And when heat production from concrete hydration is not too high, there's no way that we type of cement. Blended cements such as fly ash cement or blast furnace cement tend to be sensitive to curing temperature. Therefore, for blended cements, a longer curing period than ordinary Portland cement is required, especially when curing temperature is low. Hydration of ground granulated tolerance slag is highly dependent on temperature and temperature history and strength development properties of structural members. It may differ considerably depending on factors such as the dimensions of members and heat insulation property of formwork. Very that may delay development of strength. Concrete may also be subject to initial frost damage, and it is therefore you can say necessary to perform temperature control by heat supply or heat insulation for a given period to maintain necessary temperature conditions. For cases when daily mean temperature is less than temperature is extremely high, initial strength tends to develop quickly. However, increase of strength over long term tends to be small, and durability or water tightness is sometimes inferior. In addition, special attention requires to be paid to keeping concrete surface wet. For cases when daily mean temperature is greater than 25 degrees Celsius, it requires to be treated as hot weather concrete. We'll see it later on. If member size is large and a considerable temperature increase according to hydration is anticipated, or if a big temperature differential is anticipated, cracks may be induced by thermal stress. Cracks may be induced by thermal stress. Therefore, concrete temperature and temperature differential have to be controlled by pipe cooling, surface heat insulation, or a combination of both. Furthermore, when atmospheric temperature is high, additional effect due to acceleration of cement hydration requires to be considered. Accelerated curing includes atmospheric pressure steam curing. Accelerated curing includes atmospheric pressure based steam curing, that is not pressure one, atmospheric pressure steam curing, autoclave curing, and heat curing. Autoclave curing and heat curing. For further information on atmospheric pressure steam curing and autoclave curing, you have to refer to it. We'll discuss that also. Factory made products of construction, special concretes of this specification. When heat curing is carried out by using heater mats, jet heaters, etc., concrete surface is subject to drying and cracking. In such cases, humidifying devices may be used. In accelerated curing, care need be taken because back here, it's very important one from every viewpoint and must be taken care of. Otherwise, we don't know what we do, how we do. If it works, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, you can move on it. little labor what to do, it was required. It's still 0, 0, what to do, I can't help it. All 0, 0, we should come back, I'm sure. We should come back. And this is regarding concrete. We should come back. And this is what I said, that we must have gone through this. And we will continue this with. And here is protection against harmful effects such as vibration, impact and other loads. This is regarding that one. Signals, yes. Protection against harmful effects. Concrete shall be protected against harmful effects such as vibration, impact and other loads that are likely to arise during curing period. Concrete which is not sufficiently hardened is likely to suffer damage, including cracks due to impacts, excessive loads, vibrations. Therefore, it's necessary to avoid placing material or dropping articles on surface of concrete. Concrete which has not yet sufficiently hardened is likely to suffer damage, including cracks due to impacts, excessive loads, vibrations. Therefore, it is necessary to avoid placing materials or dropping heavy articles on surfaces of concrete during hardening period. Harmful conditions also include rain showers during placement, poor quality of curing water, overheating during heat supply curing. It is necessary to prevent occurrence of these harmful effects with full understanding of properties of early age concrete, or if it is unavoidable to protect concrete from their influences. If concrete is likely to be exposed to seawater, refer to chapter this one. Now we are here for joints. Yes, okay. Joints. Joints shall be located in structure as specified in design drawings and specifications. If joints not specified in designs are to be provided, their locations, directions and construction methods shall be specified in construction plan so that strength, durability, water tightness and appearance of structure are not degraded. Joints in a structure greatly affect strength, durability and appearance of structure. Joints shall be provided carefully because they may become structural weak links in event of an earthquake. Location and structure of joints are determined at design stage considering factors such as strength, durability, appearance and constructability of structure. Joints shall be located and structured in accordance with design drawings and specifications. If joints are to be located or structured in ways that are not specified in design, respective locations, directions, structure and construction methods are to be specified in construction plan. After ascertaining that performance requirements for structure are met, through consultation with designer. Construction joints. A construction joint should in general be designed at position where shear force is as small as possible. A construction joint should in general be designed at position where shear force is as small as possible. Joint surface should be perpendicular. Joint surface should be perpendicular to direction of compressive force acting on member. Construction joints shall be planned taking into consideration cracking due to thermal stress, drying shrinkage, etc. When concrete structure is required to be watertight, construction joints shall be made at appropriate intervals to ensure necessary water tightness. When concrete structure is required to be watertight, construction joints shall be made at appropriate intervals to ensure necessary water tightness. In concrete structures which could be damaged by external chloride attack, such as marine and port structures, it is highly recommended that construction joints are not provided. In cases when construction joints cannot be avoided, it should be in general ensure that construction joints do not impair durability of structure. Soft lock है soft lock है 676 soft lock है. Construction joint. Construction joint often proves to be weak point. Construction joint often proves to be weak point for acting shear force. It's therefore necessary to form construction joints in locations at which shear force is small and to maximize shear resistance of construction joint by positioning construction joint at right angles to direction along which compressive force acts in member. If a construction joint is provided for a compelling resistance at location where large shear forces occur or large shear force occurs, measures to ensure safety against shear force may be taken, such as using mortise and tenon, or groove and tenon type shear keys or reinforcing construction joints with dowel bars or other types of reinforcing bars. These measures require to be taken after verifying at design stage that performance requirements are met. Construction joints require to be located and structured by predicting possible occurrence of cracking due to thermal stresses. Construction joints need to be located and structured by predicting possible occurrence of cracking due to thermal stresses caused by changing outdoor temperature. Drying shrinkage. When concrete is placed in considerably large blocks at a time, expected property of structures which require water tightness cannot be achieved. Expected property of structures which require water tightness cannot be achieved due to cracks caused by dry shrinkage or thermal stresses. Therefore, this requirement is prescribed. Use of construction joints in Marion and port concrete structures should be avoided as much as possible because external chlorides may penetrate through construction joints. Use of construction joints in Marion and port concrete structures should be avoided as much as possible because external chlorides may penetrate through construction joints to cause corrosion of reinforcing parts. Horizontal joints. Horizontal construction joints. If appearance requirements be met, if appearance requirements be met or required to be met, lines formed by horizontal construction joints in contact with formwork should be made as straight horizontal lines as or whatever possible. The appearance is a question mark there. Lines formed by horizontal construction joint in contact with formwork should be made as straight horizontal lines where possible. Before fresh concrete is placed, latents, poor quality concrete, loosened aggregate, etc. on old concrete or previously placed concrete surface shall be completely removed, and surface of old concrete shall be wetted sufficiently. In cases when concrete is inversely placed, construction joints shall be provided in a manner that concrete layers at joint position are well integrated with due consideration to bleeding and settlement. I repeat, in cases when concrete is inversely placed, construction joints shall be provided in a manner that concrete layers now about this joint. Before that, going further, I can assimilate what we did last time in this. Why it's only this 52. It should be more than that. In fact, well, we have covered long distance, but it's again not working. What's the reason? Why page unresponsive? It's not responsive. It's saying why it's not responding. It's 0, no, little responsive it is. Okay, construction joint often proves to be weak point. That's where commentary is. A construction joint often proves to be a weak point for acting shear force. It's therefore necessary to form construction joint in locations that is shearing forces small and to minimize shearing resistance of construction joint by positioning at construction joint at right angles to direction. Okay, that's we are done, and here is horizontal joint were done. Then we have to come what's commentary of this, that the points. For good appearance, attention shall be paid to ensure that line of horizontal joint on concrete surface looks straight. It is appropriate that joint positions coincide with form, panel joints or markers showing height of construction joint should be used. To produce a construction joint of sufficient strength, to produce a construction joint of sufficient strength, you can say durability and watertightness, it is necessary to remove whatever latents is available. Poor quality concrete means we have to remove whatever latents available, and whatever poor quality concrete, loosened particle of aggregate, etc. on old concrete surface before placing fresh concrete. For processing, for processing joint surfaces on old concrete, pre-hardening processing, post-hardening processing, or a combination of both can be used. Pre-hardening process and before hardening and post-hardening processing, or a combination of both can be used. The result processing joint surfaces on old concrete is about that. It's a good one to consider like that, it's not bad, in fact, we can start. Okay, that's point understood. Now, for processing joint surfaces, we said both processing can be used, pre-hardening and post-hardening. A common method of pre-hardening processing is to expose coarse aggregate. Pre-hardening processing is to expose coarse aggregate by removing thin film of concrete surface with high pressure air and water after final setting of concrete. If surface of construction joint is large, this process method proves to be efficient. However, this method may spoil concrete unless it is performed in a proper manner and at proper time after concrete placement or placing. Program has to be carefully controlled during processing. In general, possible working time to processing or to process construction joint is short. If construction joint treatment cannot be done during this period, it may become difficult to attain required joint performance because of problems such as excessively high concrete strength that makes it difficult to expose coarse aggregate grains and weakening matrix around coarse aggregate grains caused by excessive scrapping. To ease this working To ease this working restriction, it is effective to apply a retarder of which principal ingredient is sodium gluconate. Sodium gluconate. Remember this. Sodium gluconate on surface of concrete to process construction joints. By using this kind of retarder, processing time can be extended because hardening of concrete joint surface is intentionally delayed. Processing time can be extended because hardening of concrete joint surface is intentionally delayed, and this material is sodium gluconate, and that is a retarder. This principal gradient is sodium gluconate. It means a kind of glue, sodium glue you apply here. In case of post-hardening processing, surface is roughened. Surface is roughened with either high pressure air and water sprayed for careful cleaning, or a wire brush with pouring water. If old concrete surface is not too hard. If old concrete is hard, most reliable way to prepare surface is to wash it with water after scraping surface with a wire brush or sandblasting. Incidentally, Remaining water on old concrete surface has to be removed before placing fresh concrete. If mortar is laid just before a new layer of concrete is placed, water cement ratio of this under old concrete, and surfaces of construction joint are not usually integrated because of bleeding or settlement of newly placed concrete. In case of inversely placed concrete, methods of construction are employed to ensure integration of surfaces of construction joint. Regardless of which method is used, it is necessary to remove latent and dirt from construction joint surfaces in order to achieve structural integrity of previously placed layer of concrete is used. Lower end of previously placed concrete is used as a construction joint surface to achieve close contact with newly placed layer of concrete. In this method, lower end of previously placed layer of concrete is often formed as a single slope surface or a double slope surface in order to help air bubbles and bleeding water escape easily. Mixed proportion of newly placed concrete is designed to minimize bleeding and settlement, and it should be sufficiently compacted by a vibrator. In this case, hanging parts shall be removed at a proper time after construction to prevent falling during service life of structure, or shall be checked regularly for safety according to in-service maintenance control. If aluminum powder is mixed into newly placed concrete to give concrete a pre-hardening expansion property and thereby achieving the structural integrity of newly and previously placed concrete, we shall use concrete forms that are strong enough to confine expensive concrete. If aluminum powder is mixed into newly placed concrete to give concrete a pre-hardening expansion property and thereby achieve structural integrity of newly and previously placed concrete, it shall use concrete forms that are strong enough to confine expensive concrete. In filling method, in filling method, pouring of newly placed concrete is stopped at little below jointing surface. Pouring of newly placed concrete stopped a little below the jointing surface, and the hollow between old and new placed concrete is filled with mortar containing an expensive agent or aluminum powder. As in direct method, concrete forms that are strong enough to withstand expansion pressure are necessary. Injection for grouting is arranged beforehand, and after newly placed concrete is hardened, cement paste, resin or another material is injected. A cement paste or resin which is fluid and mixed with an expensive agent is recommended for injection to thoroughly fill small spaces. That's what joint is. We have to think of this now. This joint, we have to think of this. And this standard specification. I'll just blow up a little so that we can see it. Now, is this old concrete sloping is still, or it could be like this, doesn't matter, let us say, or it could be like this as well. Alright, this is okay, and this is casting here, we have to do newly placed concrete here, and this is pouring here. and this is axis casting. So actually casting was this up to here, I don't know what's that. And newly placed concrete, this is direct method, and filling method, and this is injection method. Old concrete, and this is newly placed concrete, this is injection tube, this is the deflation tube, and here is mortar in this portion, newly placed concrete, and this is filling method, and this was direct method. This is filling, and we have to fill this portion here, and this is casting here like this. Injection method, old concrete, this is newly placed concrete, and this inversely viscous. Now it is vertical construction joints. Construction joints. Formwork of vertical construction joint shall be supported, firmly supported. Before placing fresh concrete, surface of old concrete shall be sufficiently moistened and coated with cement paste, mortar or epoxy resin after roughening surface by scraping with a wire brush or chipping. Placement and compaction shall be performed so that newly placed concrete reaches every corner of joint surface to achieve close contact with joining surface. As a general rule, a water stop should be used for vertical construction joint in concrete structures that require water tightness. Formwork for vertical construction joint. Formwork of vertical construction joint shall be firmly supported. Before placing fresh concrete, surface of old concrete shall be sufficiently moistened and coated with cement paste, mortar or epoxy resin after roughening surface by scraping with a wire brush or chipping. Placement and compaction shall be performed so that newly placed water stop should be used for vertical construction joint in concrete structures that require water tightness. Formwork for vertical construction joint must be designed to prevent spilling of mortar and must be supported firmly. Typical method to roughen surface of old concrete is wire brushing, hand picking, picking by machine, and so on. Another method is processing construction joint before hardening, spreading retarder, of which principal ingredient is sodium gluconate, as we discussed before, on surface of formwork prior to placing concrete. In this case, processing time is properly adjusted by intentional delay of hardening time at concrete surface. Furthermore, an alternative method to roughen vertical joint is using wire net as formwork at construction joint. If a new layer of concrete is to be placed after surface of previously placed layer of concrete is roughened, structural integrity can be enhanced by applying cement paste, mortar or epoxy resin to a wet surface just before placement of new layer. A recently developed method attach set retarding sheets tests set retarding sheets to concrete forms and washing them away after removing forms. When using these methods, it's necessary to check in advance effectiveness and practicality by conducting tests or referring to reliable literature. I repeat this very important paragraph. I read fast, don't worry. First is form of for a vertical construction joint must be designed to prevent spilling of mortar and must be supported firmly. Typical method to roughen surface of old concrete is wire brushing, hand picking, picking by machine, and so on. Another method is processing construction joints before hardening with a spreading retardant, of which principal ingredients is sodium gluconate, on surface of formwork prior to placing concrete. In this case, processing time is properly adjusted by intentional delay of hardening time at concrete surface. Furthermore, an alternative method to roughen vertical construction joint is using wire net. Alternative method is to roughen joint is using wire net as formwork at construction joint. If a new layer of concrete is to be placed after surface of previously placed layer of concrete is roughened, structural integrity can be enhanced by applying cement paste, mortar or epoxy resin to wet surface just before placement of new layer. A recently developed method attacks set retarding sheets to concrete forms and washing them away after removing forms retarding sheets. When using these methods, necessary to check in advance their effectiveness and practicality. A water stopper is used in vertical construction joints. When a water stop is used, special attention be paid to installation works. Otherwise, water tightness might be worse than case where a water stop is not used. That's why see. Here is vertical joint using wire net. This is wire netting. Here is reinforcing bars here, and this is all reinforcing bars we can say. And here is wire netting, and that is what vertical joint. You can say way it can be in beams possibly, or sometimes though it's not very common. And this is here is I think vertical joint in slab, and this is wire netting here. This is temporary support for this. This is wire netting you put here, and here is you can see these are reinforcing bars, and this is wire netting. Place it here. Here is old concrete. You can see this is old concrete. We done just shutter for that one. This new bars and this continues like this, and the temporary supports are here. And this is wire netting. So this is new concrete. When you remove this shutter here from, this will be in contact with that vertical joint using wire net. So that's what we say. Vertical joints using wire net. Construction joints and columns and walls. Construction joints and columns and walls integrated with the floor system. Integrated with floor systems. Construction joints in a column or wall integrated with the floor system should be formed adjacent to border between them. Concrete in haunches shall be placed. Concrete in haunches shall be placed at same time as floor concrete. Concrete in haunches shall be placed at same time as floor concrete. So first requirement is construction joints in the column or wall integrated with floor system should be formed adjacent to border between them. Concrete in haunches shall be placed same time as floor concrete. Similar procedures shall be used in structures with overhangs. Concrete of haunch must be placed in continuity with floor construction in view of fact that as it is directly supported with shuttering. It cannot sink or settle together with concrete of column or fall, so haunch behaves as a part of slab. Concrete joints in floor system. Concrete joints in floor system. Construction joints in floor systems should be made in middle of slab or beam. Construction joints in floor system should be made in middle of slab or beam. In cases when a beam crosses a joist at middle of a span, construction joints in beam shall be provided at position apart from joist by about twice width of joist. Construction joint shall be reinforced against shear by providing additional diagonal tensile reinforcements. Crossing joint. The construction joint is formed in middle of a slab of beam because shear force in this area is usually small and the construction joint is formed in middle of a slab or beam because the shearing force in this area is usually small. This is test works at right angle to vertical construction joint. Hence, formation of construction joint has little effect on strength capacity of slab or beam. If a joist crosses beam at middle of span, however, it's advisable to position construction joint at about twice width of joist away from joist in order to avoid coincidence of construction joint. Here is what we see, reinforcement for construction joint, and this is here, you can say, this is your joist here, and here is construction, you can say center line is here and about 2 BO, that is from here. This is here is steel reinforcement, and this is 2 BO, about BO is this, and so here is that, this is the joist here, this is the joist. You should say if joist exists variation here should be at least twice width of this, and that can be construction joint. So this is very common, we can't keep here, and there's some shear stress minimum maximum here, so at least it will do this way. Construction joints in arches. Construction joints in arches should be provided at right angles to axis of arch. In cases when construction joint is obliged to be parallel to axis of arch, locations, reinforcing methods or strengthening shall be carefully examined. Since shear force acts along joint when construction joint in arch is not formed at right angles to arch, joint is likely to be structural weak point. This requirement is prescribed for purpose of avoiding shear force acting along joint. If a vertical joint is formed parallel to arch axis, an action such as eccentric live load might cause shear force along joint. Therefore, sufficient countermeasures against these problems are required. Expansion joints. Expansion joints. Expansion joints, the structure of expansion joint shall be such that the structure or members on both sides can be free from restraint. The structure of expansion joint or dowel bars provided. Evenness at expansion joint is required. A protrusion or groove should be introduced to or dowel bar provided to form an expansion joint. Either both joint structure must be perfectly discontinuous or depending on type of structure and location of installation. Concrete may be discontinuous and reinforcing bars may remain continuous. To form an expansion joint, either both joints structures must be perfectly discontinuous or depending on type of structure and location of installation. Concrete may be discontinuous and reinforcing bars may remain continuous. If an expansion joint gap is likely to become filled with soil, if an expansion joint gap is likely to become filled with soil, sand and so forth, joint filler materials shall be used. Examples of filling materials are sheets of asphalt, rubber foam, resin foam, or other sealing and filling materials. So expansion joint of a structure that requires water tightness, a water stop with proper flexibility must be used. Examples of water stops are copper plates, stainless plates, vinyl chloride. Examples of water stopper are for expansion joint of structure that requires water tightness, a water stop with proper flexibility may be used. Water stops are copper plates, stainless steel plates, vinyl chloride, resin sheets and rubber sheets. Here is, you can see, one is A, insulation by asphalt, so this is just asphalt, that's it. And this is B, A to D is wall structure, this is wall, and this is also wall. It's like this, just you can say insulation by asphalt, water tightness, and this is also A to D it says, and this is like this, so you can say like this as it is, or it is like that, double bar here, that's what it is called, insulation expansion joint. Then we have here water tightness for wall and slab. This is a wall or slab, this is filling material, this is sealing material here, and here is this filling material here, and this is overlapping on this, and this is sealing materials here. This is water stop, this is water stop, and this is water stop here. You can say water stops, and it's water on this side, this end. So there's water stop here, and there's no water stop here, that's fault fill, and this also here, sealing material, and this is water stop here. Water stop, filling material, and then base of water tank. This is water tank here. Base means water tank. And here is asphalt membrane. This is asphalt membrane. This is filling material. This is water stop here. You can see this is water stop here. And of course here, if you see this one, this is filling material, this is rubber ring, and here is hinge. You put the hinge, it's like that, it's hinge. So water stop here. Cracking. Joints to control cracking. In case, in cases when a joint is introduced to control cracking, its structure and location shall be in accordance with design documents. In cases when a joint is introduced to control cracking, its structure and location shall be in accordance with in accordance with design documents. In case of concrete structure, in case of concrete structure, there are many factors that cause deformation. In case of a concrete structure, there are many factors that cause deformation besides applied forces, including temperature change due to heat of hydration and outer temperature, drying shrinkage, and so on. Cracks may develop if such deformation is restrained. It's therefore desirable to control cracks by forming notches in cross sections at given interval in order to concentrate cracks in a given area. Cracking inducing joint In case of concrete structure, there are many factors that cause deformation besides applied forces, including temperature change due to heat of hydration and outer temperature, drying shrinkage, and so on. Cracks may develop if such deformation is restrained. It is therefore desirable to control cracks by forming notches in cross section at given intervals in order to concentrate cracks in a given area. Crack inducing joints need be considered at design stage. If design drawings and specifications do not deal with crack inducing agents, the joints, if design drawings and specifications do not deal with cracking inducing design joints, it is necessary to refer to design section of this specification and provide appropriately located and structured crack inducing joints through consultation. Sufficient consideration is necessary to decide spacing intervals, reduction ratio of cross section, method to prevent steel corrosion, and method to assure required cover and filling material in notches. In general, spacing interval of joints may be 1 to 2 times wall height, and reducing ratio of cross section is advisable to more than 30. There are some joints are shown here. It's here in wall height, you can say H. Spacing interval of joints, this is here, you can say joint. And here is, if you see the section here, this is width of D here, this is D, and here is joint, 0.1D. 0.1D means 10% of depth or width. 10% is and these are spacing intervals of joints to control cracking. These are spacing intervals. This is H height, and this is interval, and 0.1D is that one. As one part of this, and this is section A here, 0.8D. So this is 0.8D. This is D, and has water stop. If you pattern between this is water stop here, water stop, and if you see here, price is 0.40 and 0.40, that's okay. And this pipe here, otherwise water stop here. And also here precast concrete block you can put in here, and that's where this is because about remover, and this is shape of notch. Here is half pipe remover, half pipe shape of notch, and here's this distribution bars, water stop here, this is D, and there is filling materials, filling in of resin mortar. This examples of joints in control cracking. This is, we can just have a complete look on this, how does it behave, how does it require it. It's to be understood properly in a sense, must be, and it should be in the correct sense. You can read this also, if you can read this as well, it's fine, and it should be likewise. requirements for pressurized cement curing equipment. Okay. An autoclave pressure vessel is inserted into automatic temperature control heating jacket and pressurized. Automatic bleed off valve mounted atop autoclave assembly prevents excessive autoclave is equipped with state-of-art luxury program crate. So first times now going away, and we have to see this as a matter of fact. Documents, facilities are stored, and here is cement, concrete itself, and saving it. Autoclave AC concrete autoclave system now. Effects of autoclave curing and fly ash on metal. Autoclave concrete masonry. What is autoclaving? Why are some concrete masonry units autoclaved units whereas others are not? Autoclaving is a autoclaving reduces process of water. Autoclaving reduces linear shrinkage of concrete masonry units to approximately one half. Specific here. Let's go back and see something I can find here. Let's go to, I think, let's go to Wikipedia if I got something interesting from there. C&D or cement curing contractor system. Encyclopedia curing. Encyclopedia autoclave curing. Calcium silicate insulation. High-density calcium silicate insulation products or cement in an autoclave with maximum ambient temperature generally between 170 and 215 degrees Celsius. Autoclave curing, steam curing of concrete products and lime bricks are special specific. Same thing it is. The temperature is 170 to 215 degrees Celsius. That is autoclaving. It's important that autoclave curing against despite engineering, steam curing of concrete products, sand, limestone, lime bricks, asbestos products, hydrous calcium silicate insulation products of cement in an autoclave at maximum ambient temperatures generally between 170 and 215 Celsius That's the 340 and 450 degrees Fahrenheit. That's all this. I'll go back again. Go back again. If we can get something important, I'll close it. See what to do with that. It's already 6:24, and there is autoclaves industry. Whatever in concrete masonry. Okay. Concrete curing autoclaves. Tractor put. No, it's not important. Leave it. I am finding much reliable information from here. I'll be very close. It's no use. We'll discuss later on what to do. We have to go to. We have to go to our next time. I think there is. So I say it's chapter on reinforcement to follow. And then we have to go to. We have to go to after that joint of reinforcing bars, and then placement of pre-assembled reinforcing bars. I think, and then chapter formwork and shoring. Formwork and shoring loads, and the vertical loads, horizontal loads. You can say light little pressure of concrete. We have to do all, and quality we can say. And therefore it's very important point we have to understand here. To understand here, that's very important. You have to deal with this. You have to deal with this coordination engineering issue. And it's a must, you can say, reliable coordination engineering projects, and also quality, you can say here, that we have to deal with this as well. And that is what it is, quality approach we have to handle. And this is, as usual, certificates, we have to be very clear about this. We have to study these documents, and now we have to be very careful about use of these. We have gone through some chapters today, better than yesterday it is, because there were some signals, of course, broken signals, no problem. Whatever you get is fine. I'm not sure about that. For example, 73 kbps currently and 2 fps, it is not reliable signals. We can't depend upon them, but whatever is information was available, that's our source we have, and we cannot say more than that. And this is days. It's very, very important point. We have to understand this. We're talking about quality and coordination. We are talking about reliable only. We are talking about what we have to do. What we have to do, and in our practical work is practical. Work is not just books. Textbooks are our basis in the science, but practical works is for people. They use that for themselves. We have to deliver civil engineering products which are very significant for development, and we have to be very sure that our processes are going to work for coming decades, many decades, and in some cases maybe more than 10 decades if these are properly retrofitted from time to time. And it's very important we have to respect this material, and particularly long-term use materials. I'm not talking of doors and windows of wood, I'm not talking of flooring, I'm talking of concrete, which is hidden one. It's not, you can't see in buildings. When once it's done and finished, you can't see what size of concrete is there. People look at only architectural or decorative part of that and say, oh, what a beautiful building is architecture. I'm not interested in that. Of course, it's also of interest, because without that we cannot live. What I'm talking here is engineering. We're talking here is important material which is actually natural material to artificial stone, you can say, just like we get aggregates from rock, aggregates from riverbeds, and we got aggregates movement from one place to another place. And that's really important point. We have to realize that construction materials, I'm not talking of machines, I'm not talking of something, we're talking of building machines. Means if I consider machines equivalent to building, or I can say my building, my RCC structure building, or structure steel, or whatever else, it's a machine because it's a mechanism. In every member of this building, certain machines may stop working sometimes. This may be shut down, this may be maintained. And even machine foundations, all these which are basis for existence, these never stop. It's like our body respiration system. In our body, we cannot stop respiring even for a second. It works inside, even we sleep, we do not know, but system automatically works. And that's what I say, in every member of building or structure, in civil engineering or construction engineering or design engineering, you have to consider these forces act all time, round clocks, 24/7 till these buildings exist. These are compressive forces, tensile forces, bending moment, shear forces, wind forces, or you can say dynamism of building, earthquake action or thermal action. And there are so many distortions, so many stresses and strains that work in building. We have to consider this practically, positively. People do not know that these forces work all time in buildings, like whatever such forces work in our body. When we respire, these buildings also respire, beams and columns and slabs and whatever. Even if there is no application of people there, just dead loads themselves work, wind works and everything works. This means no part of structure is free of working. It serves all times. Service of dead loads, service of live loads, service of accidental loads, service of wind loads, service of thermal energy, service of seismic action, and whatever else. And soil is there below that, which is responsible for satisfactory performance of building, which we should respect properly with regard. Earth, we call it, or lithosphere we call it, or soil we call it, whatever we call it, or foundation we call it, substructure we call it, whatever we can call. We have to have thorough apprehension. It's not that we have to be limited in studies. We have to, people should know what is the importance of this material, what is the importance of steel reinforcing bars, what is the importance of concrete, what is the importance of placing together, what is the importance of corrosion, what is the importance of corrosion-free concrete, how can corrosion impact our structures, why should we use free of corrosion bars. Means all these points are very important. The people may not understand, and they don't understand really. They don't understand because engineers do not tell them. Engineers do not educate society. And it's not here alone, it's all over world. People know only see this construction is ongoing. They don't know more than that. But when machine is broken at home, some equipment is broken, they know it very well. Because here they are in direct contact of that. They use it, but building is used for residential and sleeping purpose or for work. They do not know direct impact of defective work in building, because building doesn't immediately collapse and there may be distortions we don't understand, and all structures are concealed below finishes, and that is a drawback. If you don't know what sort of structure is there, what quality of structure is there, was really when done qualitative, was question of making money or getting salary. Question is how much genuine you are, how much genuine one is as an engineer. Just having certificate of engineering, that's one part of life, but Doing real engineering is another part of life. I use this. A design is not complete if work is not done satisfactory. That is design which designer with proclamation says my design is excellent one, but while it is done on site, that excellent has gone to defective one. So there is no work used of designs. You can say designer stamina, designer potential goes in vain, and that is where I am very serious about. We have to respect designer, and we have to respect concrete, and we have to respect material, and we have to respect soil. We have to respect because it is all wealth provided by nature, nothing by ourselves. Concrete, of course, is mixed by ourselves, but all ingredients of concrete are natural. They come from the natural sources available. Therefore, we should be respectful for them, and we should understand all theories and all qualitative requirements and all coordination requirements, which is a part of design. I can understand. First, it starts with design, and then it goes to you can say working production of design, and then to site. So we cannot get responsible. We cannot get rid of that point. We have to understand clearly. And if you can't understand that, means we don't respect engineering, and that's a very important point we have to be serious about. And with this, I like to move further and try to conclude today's session. Yesterday missed one. Today's, of course, some good time that we could continue it, and I'll put both yesterday's and today's URLs together on our sites, and that is really important one we have to be serious about. So I would like to say, next time we meet, it will be better if we do it. And this is again, I am giving you my email ID, suraj_engineer@yahoo.co.uk, and of course it is my certification. Another concrete, and we will be back on this page 795 we'll start with, and we'll come back to this